live in 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to Kicking It with Caitlin. If you love my channel, go ahead and hit the buzzer below and don't forget to subscribe for updates. Today I'm talking about heroes. No, not anime warriors or movie superheroes. Heroes aren't only legendary figures with mythical abilities. Sometimes they're just like you and me. But what makes someone a hero? Let's see how the dictionary defines a hero. Yeah, no. Okay, right here. A hero is a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. I know a few of those. There are real-life heroes among us. Teenagers who are courageous and noble and doing amazing things to make sure our planet is healthier, safer, and more inclusive for all. I want you to meet Victoria, Rithika, Robin, and Madeline. In a world of social media feeds filled with picture-perfect selfies where our attention pings back and forth between the latest viral challenge and the next singing sensation, these heroes are making their voices heard. All of them are courageously taking a stand in the fight against vaping, becoming prevention advocates, educating themselves, their classmates, and younger kids, and making a positive difference in their communities. I thought it would be fun to kick it in their hometowns today to see how these real-life heroes are inspiring others. And later, I'm gonna show you my top picks for the best anti-vaping videos you'll wanna share with your friends. No, really, they're funny, so stick around for the countdown. On behalf of the CVS Health Foundation, Catch Global Foundation, and Discovery Education, welcome to Be Vape Free Heroes. Do any of you guys have a younger brother or sister, maybe a younger cousin or family friend? Well, it's no secret that those kids will grow up someday and face some of the same tough choices we already face as teenagers. Come on, you guys, we gotta help them out. Madeline is a teenager who knows firsthand vaping is no joke. She's seen the very real and very scary impact nicotine can have on our health. So she's arming the next generation with the information they need to make smart choices when it comes to vaping. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Madeline, and I go to Biloxi High School in Biloxi, Mississippi. Biloxi is situated on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. We are about an hour away from New Orleans and from Mobile, Alabama. It's a very diverse community, people with different backgrounds, histories and cultures, jobs. I started playing the clarinet when I was in 6th grade. I joined our middle school band, and ever since then, band has been one of the biggest commitments in my life. I really do enjoy making music. I think it's something really special. It's like how I like to spend most of my free time, either listening or making music. I've definitely seen kids my age vaping. Even at the school, even during school hours, you'll see kids in the bathroom. You'll see kids, even at one point, doing it in classrooms, in the back of classrooms when teachers didn't really know what to look for. It's definitely been something that's prevalent at my high school and outside of school. When I see kids my age who are vaping, I think that they really don't know what they're doing to themselves. They don't know how it's going to harm them in so many ways in the future. They don't have the information to know how to live a healthy life. They probably don't even know the true dangers of vaping. They just think it's something that their friends do and that they do too, and it's just some trend. It really makes me want to speak out and to help them learn how to live a better life. So I began my anti-tobacco, anti-vaping advocacy when I was in 8th grade. My grandmother, who I was very close to, she was often the one who would take care of me while my parents were working during the summers and during the afternoons when they were still at work. She was a lifelong smoker. She smoked when my dad was growing up, when I was growing up, so I always knew that she had this habit, and that was bad. Eventually, when I was in 7th grade, she developed emphysema and was hospitalized and eventually died of that because of her smoking addiction. That experience really inspired me to take a stand because I could see how beyond just her, there were so many people in my community who were smoking, and I really just wanted to do something about that to stop the same experience that happened to me from happening to any other family. I started off doing mainly anti-tobacco advocacy, but I soon began to notice that vaping was a huge problem in my school and it was only getting bigger, and I thought that it was such an important problem that hadn't really been addressed yet.
E-cigarettes are not safe.
For the past couple of years, I've done presentations to health classes in my high school. I've also done presentations in the middle school. And then this past summer, I went to local summer camps, such as the one at our local elementary school, and presented to different groups of children, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and then 4th through 6th grade. So I've really talked to all ages, and I've done different sorts of activities for each group because they respond to different information. But the main goal for all of those has been to educate, because they're the ones who are getting targeted by these products. I definitely think that the information I'm giving them has an impact. One of the things I do in those presentations is kind of give them a bit of a pre-quiz that just involves them thinking about the answers to some sort of questions, the common misconceptions about vaping. And I think being able to take the information that they came in with, which might have been wrong, and relearn that, and focusing on that education really makes an impact on the way that they're going to think about vaping in the future. Teaching them not just how to help themselves, but how to help others makes an impact on how they live their lives and, their relationships with the people around them. If anyone watching wants to take a stand against vaping like I did, I think the most important way is to talk to people in your life. You don't have to be an advocate on a national organization to make a difference. It can just be one person helping them, or just talking to one person about vaping prevention. Taking those steps to reach out to them can make as big of a difference, and it's just important.
Thank you, Madeline, for honoring your grandmother with your incredible advocacy. I'm inspired by your story. My name is Christy Marinac, and I'm a public health advisor in the Office on Smoking and Health at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I've worked at CDC for over 10 years in both policy and scientific roles, and my job is to translate science about tobacco products into information that everyone can understand and use. First, it's important to make it clear that most young people don't use e-cigarettes, but too many do. In 2021, even when many students were learning virtually because of the pandemic, more than 2 million U.S. middle and high school students reported using e-cigarettes in the past 30 days. And of those, more than 8 in 10 used flavored e-cigarettes. And disposable e-cigarettes, such as Puff Bar, which are sold in flavors that aren't allowed for some types of e-cigarettes, were the most commonly used vape brand in 2021 among high school students. Our lungs are meant to breathe clean air, not the small particles and chemicals that are found in aerosol from e-cigarettes. The e-cigarette aerosol that users breathe in from the device and then exhale can contain harmful and potentially harmful substances, including nicotine, ultrafine particles that can be inhaled deeply into the lungs, flavorings like diacetyl, a chemical linked to serious lung disease, cancer-causing chemicals, and heavy metals like nickel, tin, and lead. The aerosol that users inhale and exhale from e-cigarettes can expose not only themselves, but the people around them to these harmful substances. Our brains don't fully mature until about age 25. Each time a new memory is created or a new skill is learned, stronger connections or synapses are built between brain cells. Young people's brains build synapses faster than adult brains, and nicotine changes the way these synapses are formed and can impact learning, memory, and attention in lasting ways. Adolescents are particularly susceptible to addiction because of how their brains are developing. For example, we know from studies of adolescent rats, whose brains are similar to adolescent humans, that nicotine exposure in adolescence can prime the brain for addiction to other drugs. Well, scientists have done experiments where they give nicotine to adolescent and adult rats and then give them other types of addictive drugs to see what happens. And what they found is that the adolescent rats that got nicotine then took more of the other drugs, like cocaine and methamphetamine, compared to the adults that got nicotine. There are a lot of things schools and communities can and are doing to help prevent students from vaping. But punishing students for vaping isn't the solution. Most young people who use e-cigarettes want to quit and have been unfairly targeted by the tobacco industry with tactics known to appeal to youth. Students who vape need support and encouragement from adults and peers to quit. School-based prevention initiatives free of tobacco industry influence or funding, and tobacco-free school grounds policies can preserve schools as a place for learning, not vaping. So it's really an act of compassion and bravery that students like Madeline are willing to speak up and talk about these tobacco products and how they can harm our health and cause addiction. So thanks to everyone who's willing to have those tough conversations about products. And again, approach young people who might be using tobacco products with Compassion, not judgment.
You know, Christy is right. It's important to make younger kids a part of the conversation about the dangers of vaping before they grow up to be teenagers with a problem. It can be tough to resist the pressure to try a vape, but some teens have found a creative way to talk about the issue using social media, as you're about to see. Let's get into my top 4 picks for the best viral anti-vape videos. Here's number 4.
What's up?
I get it. Some of the stuff makes vaping look cool. Cute guys, pretty girls, telling you why vaping is so great. Hashtag big lie. Do you want to know the truth? The truth is, vaping companies actually hire influencers to not only make vaping look cool and fun, but to make it seem like it's not bad for you. I bet if vape users posted the truth about how vaping makes them feel, or if there was a filter showing what vaping is doing inside of their lungs, you'd have an easier time saying no to vaping. No matter what you've heard about vaping on social media, do your own research with sources you can trust, like the CDC, the FDA, or the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Meet our next hero, Victoria. She's a high school senior who got the facts right. Now she's sharing what she's learned about the dangers of vaping with others, and she has a challenge to get you to join the fight in a pretty unique way.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I go to North Allegheny Senior High School, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. One of the biggest reasons why I became interested in vaping was because I saw it everywhere in my school. There'd be things like I go to the bathroom and then I'd see like someone leave like a vaping device and I'd be like, oh, okay. And then on Instagram too, like they'd post sort of photos of them vaping, whether it's at parties or during the school sort of time. I think one of the biggest reasons why probably kids my age vape is the internet presence behind it. It's weird, but I think there's a lot of things on social media, especially during 2018, like at the very peak when Juul and all these companies were like really fast rising, was a lot of like influencers were posing, and there were a lot of videos and just like content that like everywhere you look, there was vaping. And I think that almost like subconsciously made it like something that was socially acceptable and cool to do. I would call it a virtual peer pressure. I think especially now it's more and more common, especially with TikTok. Now there are other things that kids are doing, whether it's vaping or not. And I think that sort of presence and that sort of buzz kind of builds up and everyone feels like they should give it a shot. Some of the online stuff regarding vaping that I've seen has been people like influencers posing and they look cool, they're dressed nice, and they're kind of like what maybe most teens like want to be or want to look like, and they're vaping. And it's very like bright imagery and like, oh, like looks good, like I feel happy like looking at the image, maybe I'll feel happier if I do sort of vape. I think that type of thing that I've seen a lot across like social media, especially Instagram. I would say if you're influenced by different like social media posts of vaping, I would say first, you're not alone. I think everyone experiences some extent to like of it, or else vaping wouldn't be, I think, this big of a thing. And the second thing I would say is don't be afraid really to reach out to friends or family or your support system. I decided to take a stand against vaping actually after I read the New York Times article, because a few days later I was at my friend's house and then that's when he offered me a vape. And that was kind of when I connected like, oh, this larger narrative of vaping relates to me and the people I'm closest to. So that really kind of sparked like, okay, like what's sort of the broader story to this? Like we're calling this an epidemic, but what are the numbers? Like why do people do it? Are there sort of larger trends we can draw out maybe from a lot of the personal things that I saw? A lot of my research with vaping first starts with going on the internet, looking at what exists, like who has already done analysis on what, and then what other questions do I have after that? And then some of the research turns into just like palatable, I guess, like presentations, or just turn into like slideshows or graphics or like trifolds. I've been using a lot of my research to present at science fairs, where I've been able to talk to different people, really try to bring it into the community. I think my life has changed after I've taken a stance on vaping, and I think a large part of it has been like, oh, once I realized you can make a difference, or at least hopefully move the needle a little bit forward or in the right direction, that has allowed me to do different things and feel, I think, more confident and more sure of myself. My biggest piece of advice for anyone who wants to get involved is, I think there's no one right way to create change or do something. I think about what you like doing, what you're good at, how that intersection kind of forms, and then being able to act on that. So for example, if you like graphic designing, there's a lot of graphic designing you can do pro bono for like nonprofits, or like coding, different things like that. It doesn't always have to be organizing, leading, rallying, that type of thing that we often see. The vaping epidemic is really real and present and prevalent, and it's still a problem today, and it's our job to do everything we can to stop it.
The tobacco industry continues to aggressively market its products, even during a global pandemic. And youth e-cigarette use remains a serious public health concern. 2 million middle and high school students used e-cigarettes in 2021. And Puff Bar e-cigarettes are now the most commonly used vape brand among high school students.
It's really, really important to understand that vaping is dangerous. And marketers have come to realize that if they use sweeteners, pun intended, they can market these very, very harmful, unsafe products in ways that make them palatable and actually desirable. So it's really important, advocates, that you understand that flavored vaping is a tool to get young people in particular to become vapers.
A lot of kids say it's for the flavors that they might initially start. So we're talking about a range of flavors, a range of products that are meant to appeal to a youth market. That's how they're designed. They're designed to be the products themselves concealable. Instead of a big plume of vapor or aerosol, you might get just a little, small little plume, and that's, again, it enhances the concealability of the product, making it more likely that students will actually use it in places that they are prohibited.
So you might think of traditional advertising as commercials on television or glossy magazine ads, but industries can market in many different ways. They can use paid influencers who don't disclose that they're receiving tobacco industry funding. It's really important to know who the messenger is when you hear information about tobacco products, whether it's online, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. And there are a lot of people out there who might look like ordinary users, but are sponsored by the tobacco industry. So if somebody's TikTok account links to a website to sell the products, then you should be questioning whether the information they share about those products might have a financial gain for them. And when young people post about products that they might be using, they become unpaid spokespeople as well. And young people who are exposed to social media messages, both from peers and from advertisers about e-cigarettes, are more likely to have favorable attitudes towards them.
It doesn't take long to go down a rabbit hole of misinformation on social media about vaping. But there are vape-free heroes trying to get out the right information online. And that brings me to viral video number 3. I'm sure you know someone who vapes, or has at least tried it once. Unfortunately, starting is a lot easier than stopping. By the time many teens want to say no, they're hooked. Thank goodness there are heroes among us like Robin. He's helping people stop vaping before it's too late.
Hello, my name is Robin, and I live in Simi Valley, California. So Simi Valley, we are a residential suburb of Los Angeles. A small, quiet town. It's very natural. There's lots of nature, lots of walks, mountains, valleys. I think in our community, not just in Simi Valley, but also in Los Angeles, we are the cultural capital of the world, I would say. And when it comes to popular culture, we kind of lead the other students and other regions, not only the United States of America, but globally as well. I've seen vaping happening all around my community from all age groups, from people who are 60 years old or older to kids who are as young as middle school students. When I see kids vaping in my community, I knew the obvious effects of vaping and I wanted to do something about it. I first decided to take a stance against vaping when I began volunteering at my local hospital. I was able to meet a number of patients suffering from various pulmonology diseases, ranging from lung cancer to bronchitis. From there, I realized I've also met students my age, teens within my community who are suffering from the effects of vaping. I decided to take a more active stance. I go to Sierra Canyon High School in Los Angeles. We are a private high school. I love going there. I've been there since 8th grade. Students there have always been nice to me. When I first came over here from South Korea, I had some difficulties mingling with fellow students, but I think the atmosphere around me was so embracing that I have really broken through and come out of my comfort zone and really put myself out there, allowing me to pursue and reach heights I never thought were possible. I have been a part of my school newspaper since 9th grade, and this year I had the honor of being invited to serve as editor-in-chief. And during my involvement with the newspaper, I had the opportunity to engage with the greater student body and also understand their views on different issues surrounding campus and surrounding teens. And in doing so, I was able to get a deeper insight into students and their take on vaping. I have written articles and organized roundtables to talk about the effects of vaping on the student body and on teenagers in general. The roundtables came about to me after I noticed that although there's lots of students who want to do something about the vaping epidemic and want to contribute their knowledge and their insight into preventing the active vaping from proliferating, they weren't exactly sure how they could take these steps and what exactly was so harmful about vaping. There was also no denying the fact that many students did not know the details as to the harmful effects of vaping, and I wanted to kind of let them know. Just to get to know everyone, where do you feel you want to be mentally and physically this year? I always start off asking students what their goals are, and in the long term, what their career goals or academic goals are. And then from there, tell them and try to reason with them as to the harmful effects of vaping and how vaping could impede their journey to their goals. I think this is what the vaping industry was trying to promote to us for the past decade. Because I learned through these roundtables that stress is one of the most primary factors of initiation when it comes to vaping among young teenagers. I always try to help students to find alternative ways to deal with their stress. First of all, we'll try to understand the impact e-cigarette use has on our health, our mental and physical health. Helping my peers makes me feel as though I am doing something of value. It is the driving force behind what I do every day. From when I wake up to when I go to sleep, my life revolves around helping others and helping my fellow teens truly understand the effects of vaping and truly understand the fact that they are not alone in this fight. I believe one person can make a huge impact on the community. I myself would have never thought that I could make such a big impact on my friends and family members, but also to youth nationwide. Through my involvement with the Catch Global Foundation, taking on vaping prevention is a long and laborious process, and it requires the collective effort of friends, family, and even teachers. It is a great honor to see someone get out of the clutches of vaping through your help. And I really implore to all of you who are viewing this program right now to take an active role, an active stance against vaping. 1, 2, 3. No vaping!
There's so many ways that you can be a hero in helping someone quit vaping. You can be a hero by helping a friend quit vaping. You can be a hero by going to your local community and finding out how you can do things like prevent flavors from being sold in the community. Heroes can happen from the personal level, friend to friend. If you quit, you're a hero, or you can take an advocacy action. Hi, I'm Jonathan Winnikoff. I'm a pediatrician at Massachusetts General Hospital for Children in Boston, Massachusetts. Teens face a lot of unique challenges. They are faced with huge amounts of stress and pressure. And interestingly, kids who have more stress, more anxiety, kids who have some mood issues are more likely to initiate with a tobacco product and more likely to vape. They're also more likely to have that vape product worsen their stress, worsen their anxiety, worsen their mood issues. So a lot of people think, gee, I see that stressed out person using their vape, maybe that could help me. Just the opposite. It likely will make your stress and anxiety worse at a time when you really can't afford more stress and more anxiety in your life. The vape itself, the vaping product itself, is very high nicotine content. You may see, a 5% or 6% number on some of the disposable products or on Juul. That's a very high number. With the earliest puffs, you get a feeling that, oh, you want more. It gives you a buzz. And nicotine has been compared to heroin and cocaine in its addictiveness by the Surgeon General. Teenagers get addicted with less nicotine. They get addicted more strongly, and it's harder for them to ever quit. So the younger the brain gets exposed to nicotine, the more dangerous it is. So this is a highly addictive substance. It's a substance that's not safe to experiment with, and it's one that kids should really be wary of. If they see their friends using it, it's really important to communicate that danger to them, because they may not even know they're becoming addicted early on, and it can sort of sneak up on people. For kids who are addicted to nicotine products, to vaping products, it can oftentimes be a long process to get them to quit. First of all, recognizing that they even have a problem. Sometimes it's up to them to realize it first. The only way they might realize it is if they take time off from the product and then realize they're in trouble, they need it, they crave it. That's oftentimes how kids come to me. They say, I thought I had control over this product, but I realized it was controlling me. Peers are extremely important in terms of helping other peers understand the dangers. And when peers find another friend or a peer who's using a product, they can actually link them to support. They don't have to be an expert in treatment themselves. They just have to know how to get a person linked up to the best available programs. I would recommend, number one, make sure that you touch base with your doctor. Make sure they understand what you're going through. They oftentimes can help give you consultation. If you're having a tough time with stress or anxiety, they can help get you the mental health services that you need. But also in terms of just finding support, either for yourself or for a friend, you can refer someone yourself to a program, or you can self-refer to a program. And some of these are This Is Quitting. Another one is My Life, My Quit. These are both evidence-based, superb programs that can help you to quit or help a friend quit. Let's say you are not the person who uses a vape product, but you have a friend who's using. If you are successful at helping that friend quit, you've not only helped that friend quit, but you've also helped to protect your community, because quitting is super contagious. So if you get one person to quit, chances are other people in that social network are also going to quit. This is really well supported by research. So quitting is contagious. And if you're the person using and you're stuck, if you're successful at quitting, make sure you spread that on social media so that your example can reverberate across your network to protect your friends from both initiating, but also help them to quit.
Shout out to anyone who has stopped vaping. That's not easy. I'm really proud of you. And I'll hit the like button for any of you that have helped convince someone to quit too. It's about taking control of your own life. You're gaining a lot more when you stop than you're giving up. All right, let's cue up video number 2 in my fave countdown. You know, when I hear how these vaping companies are targeting teens, it makes me so mad. I get upset when I hear how teenagers are getting hooked. But instead of just talking about it, we can do something about it. I want you to meet Rithika, a Be Vape Free hero who's channeling her emotions in all the right ways.
Hi, I go to Cumberland Valley High School and I'm from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I unfortunately have seen people my age vaping, whether it be walking through just the city or just in my neighborhood. I've definitely seen it in my community. I'm angered because I feel like these individuals don't have the accurate information handed to them about vaping and its dangers and its impacts on their young, healthy bodies. I feel like they're doing harm to themselves. I know a lot of people say that it's just water vapor. That's a very common misconception, that it's not supposed to be dangerous to the human body when ingested, but unfortunately it is. It's not water vapor, it's an aerosol that contains nicotine. So the Cumberland County Youth Advisory Board is an organization that I've joined when I was in 11th grade. I decided to join because I've seen addiction in many forms, not just vaping, but also alcoholism and other forms of addiction within my community. And I feel like YAB kind of acknowledges this and addresses this through its youth, and that's what appealed to me the most. Advocacy is important because it changes the popular beliefs and it changes opinions that are already predisposed. It changes preconceived notions about whatever it is. It could be about vaping, it could be about addiction. We talk about things from diversity and inclusion to fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and to addiction and drunk driving, and of course vaping as well. What I like most about YAB is that it's youth-driven, so it consists of about 50 high school kids within the state of Pennsylvania. Whether or not we believe it, we're a force to be reckoned with, and for the Youth Advisory Board to recognize this and kind of harness our energy as a youth influence to do good in the community and to spread knowledge, important knowledge about a variety of topics is what I think is the best thing about YAB and why I'm part of it. I definitely think that I am making a difference through my Youth Advisory Board because not only do we have meaningful discussion that fosters further thought about vaping or addiction in general, it just kind of spreads the word about the dangers of addiction and dangers of vaping. In addition to that, we also do posters throughout schools. Being able to do the work that I do is something that I think is very powerful and something that could change some opinions about vaping and perhaps even stop a person from picking up that Juul pod. Being an advocate against vaping, I realized that this was how I was going to make my mark. If I could just change one person's opinion, I know I've done my work, and that's just something that, I take with me, and it really does touch my heart because I know I'm doing something, even just as a high schooler. People have these ideas of doing something revolutionary before you turn 40, and me being able to do something as a high schooler is so awesome, and I think that's what really just continues to motivate me to do what I do.
Rithika's story, Rithika's narrative is just very moving. It's about a young person who sees an issue and is using her voice, her agency to proclaim, to talk about, to try to change people's minds about this particular issue of vaping in a very, very personal but seemingly effective way. And the skills that Rithika is already putting to use will be further developed and will have applicability later on in life in whatever Rithika chooses to do. My name is Eduardo Sanchez. I serve as the Chief Medical Officer for Prevention at the American Heart Association. Advocacy is the set of activities that are about understanding an issue, understanding a problem that might be associated with that issue, understanding what might be solutions to address that problem, and then doing the work to help make change happen. So there's a good chance that the people you're around and or the people they're around are people who are vaping. And if it's talking about some of the facts and or trying to give people some information about how they might get more information on the one hand, or if they are needing to figure out how to get off of vaping, if you as a youth advocate know some of those resources, programs that you might be a part of, you can be an advocate not only in that very formal way that can make a difference at a big level, but you can be an advocate in a smaller way. They're both very gratifying ways to address issues that are affecting individuals. So small a, big A advocacy, really, really important. Advocacy for a teen can look like a very, very exciting opportunity to be involved in something that too many of us think only adults can do and only adults do. But for teens, it's the opportunity to talk about an issue in front of lawmakers, sometimes in a hearing, and we see those on television sometimes where there's a bunch of elected officials and you're at a desk and you're talking to a microphone. But the truth is that a lot of advocacy happens outside of those settings or in preparation for those kind of meetings, where you might go to the office of a particular elected official and engage in a one-on-one conversation with that elected official and some of the folks who might work for that person. So advocacy can be very exciting because not only are you doing that, but you might be involved in helping to have a law passed, a law that now is going to have an effect on thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. I would encourage young people who are interested in being advocates to think about how to channel their voice that way. And the kind of creativity and innovation that can be used through that channel is limitless. I think one other thing, some of us, not me, are shy to talk to other people in person. And that's okay. We're not all extroverts. But some of us are able to channel and communicate through mediums that are different than one-on-one. Social media is one of those. Your one voice can make a difference for many, many, many people. That's pretty darn exciting when you're a teen. And teens not only can do that, teens have done that. Teens are doing that. I say, have at it. Go do some advocacy.
Today's teenagers aren't just selfie-loving, phone-obsessed gamers. We're world changers. We've changed rules at schools. We've influenced brands to do better. We've helped reverse unfair policies. Yeah, we're kind of baddies. These heroes are inspiring me to take a stand against vaping. So I created a new video just for you, and you're gonna be the first to see it right here. Yeah, it's video number 1 on my favorite list. So what? It's my show. One more thing before I wrap up this episode of Kicking It with Caitlin. I wanted to show you this new filter I just made. Check it out. Now anyone can be a hero and inspire change. Keep up the good work, Victoria, Rithika, Robin, and Madeline. You guys are nailing that hero aesthetic. On behalf of Discovery Education, Catch Global Foundation, and the CVS Health Foundation, we'd also like to thank Dr. Winnikoff, Dr. Sanchez, and Christy Marinac for taking part in our program. And of course, we appreciate you taking the time to watch Be Vape Free Heroes. Thanks for watching.